523, welcome to week 4. Before we get into week 4, a couple things. All grades are updated. So all your projects that were due week 3, um, completely updated and graded this morning. And so that's why I was waiting a little bit to get the video done because I wanted to get your grading done first. Just a short note, make sure there were a couple of them that didn't quite seem like they followed the scenario. And so when we talk about your next assignment, just make sure you're keeping that scenario of the chemical spill in mind. But we'll get to that. Other than that, welcome to week 4. We have week 4 and week 5, and then there's a break before Thanksgiving, and then week 6 happens after Thanksgiving. Some people can't believe in themselves until someone else believes in them first. And that's from Good Will Hunting. And if you are of a certain age, that's one of those movies that there's just tons of one-liners in that movie, and a lot of them are really good. And I like this quote because it really, in my mind, is what is the basis for a great teacher, and really what separates a great teacher from a good teacher. Really believing in our students, and I know we all say that, and I'm sure all of you 100% do that. But it's not just saying it. Sometimes that's important, but it's with your actions, how you treat them every day. How do you help them? How do you support them? How do you tell them no? How do you give them consequences? All that really helps a student know how you feel about them and if you believe in them. But let's get into this week is all about idea generation. And so, another great quote from Ted Lasso is don't bring an umbrella to a brainstorming session, right? So you're going to take your problem statement and start brainstorming and doing some other things, not just brainstorming on how to get to a solution, because that's really the important part. So your first article down here is 10 techniques for problem solving. And this is great because you think, oh, well, we're going to brainstorm. But there's so many other ideas like, hey, try to figure out the worst idea possible, which is great because then don't do that, and move forward, and just gives you get some of those ideas out of the way. Creating a storyboard, or if you're a visual person, mind mapping, taking questionings and questioning assumptions of like, well, I believe this is true, but if it's not, that could change how you're moving forward. Sketching, once again, if you're more visual, analogies. Scamper is one I'd never heard of, but it's an acronym that you kind of walk through a process, and then body storming. So there's just different ways that you can start not brainstorming, but creating ideas and generating ideas. After you read that article, remember to put your thoughts on this Padlet. That's for week 5 or week 4. And once again, it's not just our class, it is all the 523 classes. Don't forget, this week there is a discussion post. It's on this video. This video is only 4 minutes long, and the whole video is about creating ideas and ideation. So after you watch it, know that the presenter emphasizes the connection between novelty and relevance during the phase. Reflect on this comment and clearly describe a time when you developed a novel and relevant solution to a problem you were facing as an educator. So this is something that's happened in your classroom, at your school, in your district. If you don't have an example to share, reflect on a solution you observed that a colleague created and do the same thing. And so once again, your initial post is due Thursday. 2 responses of some depth is due by Sunday. So the assignments for this week are that discussion board we just talked about. And your assignment 3 is actually due at the end of week 5. So I'm not doing a separate video for that one because it's a pretty self-explanatory, but I'll go through it in this in the next couple slides or next couple tabs. And then looking ahead to next week, week 5, you do have 1 article, you have 1 discussion board question. Assignment 3 is due. And then looking at assignment 4 and 5, which we finish up the class with, just knowing what's coming. Those links are right there if you want to take a look at them. So let's look at assignment 3. Once again, it's creating ideas or idea generation. It's 40 points. And you are to generate and reflect on novel and relevant ideas for your solutions to your defined problem that was in assignment 2. Look at my feedback on your assignment 2 problems. If you need to do any modification, make sure you do that. And remember, the whole thing is situated around this scenario. So you created an empathy map of your students, but then you're putting them in this scenario. So make sure it's fitting within that. And then, as always, there's some links here that we're going to go through in a minute because you're going to make this project on a Google Jamboard. But I'll get to that in a second. And then, obviously, down here, did you put in your empathy map? Did you have to do any updating to it? Your point of view table, your brainstorming, and then your reflection. So these are the 4-point parts. So, first thing, if I click on Google Jamboard, if you've never used Jamboard, it's a way that students collaborate together. You can do pictures, images, videos, text. So on the first one, you want to insert a summary of your empathy map using sticky notes in an organized and colorful fashion. You can click over here, different colors, sticky, and it puts that sticky note there. You can move it around, adjust it, change it. The next page is the same thing with your point of view table. This is where you're going to put some text to use different kind of ideas that you've worked through and generated. And then the last page is a reflection on that. So those are the 4 parts. Once again, it matches the 4 parts on your grading rubric. This article is the first link. If I bounce back over, I know I'm bouncing around, is the first link that kind of goes through, once again, design thinking. You've read a lot about it. This article is a new one, but a lot of the same information that you've had in some of your previous articles. It is somewhat lengthy, though. And then there are 2 videos, a 21-minute and a 25-minute on Google Jamboard. If you've never used Jamboard, they're both really good. I know those are longer. One thing you can do that I tend to do is you can actually go in and videos where I kind of know what they're talking about, but I don't know it perfectly. I usually watch on 1.5 speed just because it speeds it up and makes it go faster. Both those videos are very good that walks through what a Jamboard is and how to use it. As always, when you're done, you do need to save this, and then you need to download it as a PDF. That way, and here's download as a PDF. It'll tell you right there. And then submit that to the submission box. So that is week 4. We are moving away. After week 4, we're halfway through the class. It's been a great class so far. As always, if you have any questions or need anything, just reach out to me. Have a great week.